Hello. Right, gang. Sorry about the time change with no warning. I'd forgotten that I'd agreed to play D&D with some friends tonight, and I had it last week and I skipped out at 8 o'clock, but we were just doing the prep because it's a new adventure. But this week, I couldn't escape, so I thought I'd move it to 10. But so thank you. I've got a massive headache tonight, so I'm really sorry if I'm a bit shit tonight, but I've got a cracking headache. I think it's just what's it now? 3 uninterrupted weeks of screen time constantly, day in, day out. Hi everyone. Hello. It's so nice, isn't it? Um, I hope it's not too late for the New Zealand morning wake up call. And I have no idea what time it is in Croatia, but hello all. It's nice that some people are popping in just for this beginning bit and then going before the story starts. I didn't envisage that being a thing that happened, but that's fun. I've been looking through the chapters and I reckon we've got maybe if we do one chapter a night, I reckon we've got maybe a week left, maybe just under a week. And then I'm starting to think about what's happening after that. So there are plans. Right, John's managed to catch up with the story. Right, yes, I guess, yeah, we've descended into chaos quite quickly for you guys. Chicago. Hello, Chicago. 4 o'clock for you. All right. That's not a bad time. It's after here. That's Brighton in the UK. Not a lot going on. There was a lovely clap at 8 o'clock for everybody outdoors again. Yeah, puppet version. Well, I don't know. I'm having a bit of a. I think I need a day off Twitter. Just the number of people just cranking for no reason. It's starting to wear me down a little bit. I think I might need a day of not. But anyway, positivity. Hope everyone's all right. And we're going to read a chapter. Uh, And yeah, we'll feel all chirpy, shall we? I don't think it's in this chapter, but I've been going over it and I've done some editing to it. So I'm sort of adding as I go along at the moment, just reading the chapters in advance and maybe changing a bit of it. So yeah, it's been quite fun to reread it. And I looked at the end today and I was like, oh, yeah, well, I hope it doesn't disappoint. I think it'll be okay. Um, Hooray, right. So, if I remember correctly, we were at the end of chapter 34 and the negotiations were happening in the living room. It was all starting to go a bit better, and Sarah's just popped upstairs to go and get Hamish. So, chapter 35. Jesus scratched the back of his neck, feeling uncomfortable. He wasn't sure why he felt uncomfortable. The sofa was good, the tea was lovely, and the biscuit was welcome despite its staleness. It's Hamish. Sarah appeared in the doorway to the living room, looking white, paler than Jesus had seen a human look for a very long time. The last time he had seen a human look that pale, it had been a very good friend forced to do something extremely unpleasant for the good of mankind. Jesus looked up at Sarah, his stomach cooling rapidly and compressing further back towards his spine. He's gone, she continued flatly. Her voice sounded empty, tired, otherworldly, her thoughts high above her ashen skin. Gone where? Said Frank, his feet shuffling uncomfortably, unsure whether they should be carrying him to her for comfort or staying flatly where he was. He's just gone. Jesus tried to think as quickly and coherently as he could, which was difficult given the human brain's insistence on chastising itself for not being clairvoyant at times of distress. Oh, I think we all feel a bit like that at the moment, don't we? Where would Hamish have gone? Why would he have gone? The chilled knot at the centre of his digestive system was rinsing and coiling, threatening answers he didn't want. Something was evading him, something he wasn't considering, something or someone. Jesus froze. The treacherous terrain of his bowels turned to instant lava. Oh dear, he said simply. Everyone looked at him. Hamish was sitting in bright sunshine in the square at the centre of Staple Grove. The place was deserted, but he could feel something strange, like the presence of people without there being any physical clues as to their whereabouts. He wasn't sure how it all worked officially, but he supposed on a different plane of reality, the Staple Grovians were all going about their business in the same space, all spiritually anaesthetized by the peace. Well, I definitely haven't spelled anaesthetized right, have I? Oh dear. He toyed with a pebble under his trainer and squinted at the walls of Staple Grove's church. He'd had to get away from Norton Fitzwarren, had to get away from Sarah and her parents, and from Jesus. He'd felt suffocated and uncomfortable listening to earnest conversations about his relationship as though it was something removed from his own control. There'd been an awful moment sitting there in the living room where he'd experienced a moment of true, desperate clarity and had no choice but to slip quietly away. He'd walked and walked and walked, and ended up in Staple Grove where no one would think to look for him. Oh, hang on, guys. New character. We need an accent. Is there any accent left that we haven't covered yet? We could do like a French accent. That could be fun. I don't know. We need an accent. Has anybody got an accent? I can't even think of any more accents. Somebody said Cockney a few days ago. Kiwi or Lancastrian? Lancastrian, I won't be able to differentiate from Frank because Frank is generic North. New Zealand? I don't know. Is that New Zealand or is that Australia? Is it? I can't think. Maybe we could try it. Yes, okay, let's go. Scouse, we've got Scouse, Catherine Scouse. Bostonian. What is Bostonian? Boston. Boston's quite difficult, isn't it? Okay, there's a couple of votes for French. 3 votes for French. Let's go French, just because. There we go. Significant I can actually do because my father is, well, my father's family are all significants. And I mean, I think this is about right. This is as good as I can get it anyway. But then if that's not right and my dad ever watches this, dreadful. Okay, we'll go French. Let's go French. Right. New character. You look glum, said a voice behind him, causing his heart to ricochet off his throat and his head to flick round on a whip crack. Hello? Sorry, said the voice coming towards Hamish with the sun beaming behind it. I didn't mean to startle you. Are you all right? Yes, I'm fine, said Hamish, trying to get his heart rate back. I forgot that Hamish was Scottish for a second then. Trying to get his heart rate back under control and shuffling up on the bench to let the figure sit down. You look glum. Are you here by yourself? It's very hello French, isn't it? I just fancied a walk and some air. What about you? Are you from Staple Grove? No, I'm not from round here at all. Can't you tell from my accent? I am just here on a little visit. Hamish eyed the stranger keenly. She looked familiar and comforting. Hamish guessed she was maybe early 50s. She was plump, wearing a woolen skirt to her knees and a pale pink Angora turtleneck jumper. She had a short blonde bob and a kind face, something of the Mary Berry's less career-driven sister about her. Oh, Hamish was confused. Do you know about the apocalypse? She interrupted. Aye, said Hamish. Oh, yes. Yes, I know what's going on there. It's always nice to have a visit when it's quiet, though. Who goes to Disney? Things over, so we're reading a story in 20 different accents on the internet. Jesus was the bit. That's very funny, Craig Jones. Jesus with the big boobies. Oh, dear. Anyway, right. Who goes to Disneyland during half term? Good point, said Hamish, feeling increasingly uncertain that he would ever be able to say good point without feeling completely out of his depth ever again. So, are you from up there? He pointed limply at the sky, wondering why he was reverting to the behaviour of a 4-year-old in the presence of this woman. Yes, I am, originally, said the lady, smiling kindly. He got the feeling she was keeping something back from him, but he didn't want to push. She seemed modest, and he liked that. Far too many people nowadays can't wait to tell you how superb they are. Hamish was not a fan of blowing one's own trumpet. An angel? He asked. Yes, she said simply. and looked at her watch, which seemed to be working fine. Hamish took this as conclusive proof that she was telling the truth about being celestial, or that it was some kind of indestructible baby G from the 90s. He decided to trust her. Are you my guardian angel? He hoped she didn't mind this impromptu 20 questions, but having her around was really making him feel better about the previous day's contents. Oh, not exactly, she said. I mean, I could be if you wanted, but mostly I have a much bigger remit than that. I keep an eye out over everybody generally, and I just get stuck in with specifics where I think I can help. All right. You've had a pretty tough couple of weeks, she soothed. I suppose I have, he conceded. It should have been so easy. Getting engaged. I, being with Sarah, loving Sarah, marrying Sarah, it should have been so easy. I feel gutted. I feel like I've been gutted. He felt very free to talk in the presence of this woman. She was really listening to him. And it's not been since you proposed? No. Why do you think that is? Hamish stopped for a moment to think about what he wanted to say and what he felt he ought to say in front of the angel. He didn't want to be offensive, but what was bubbling through his mind was hardly something you wanted to get off your chest to the second in command of the winged army. It was like trying to admit to Kate Middleton you weren't a royalist. I've spent the last 24 hours discussing, debating, and analysing my love for Sarah, going over and over how and why and shouldn't work, how and why it should and shouldn't work, whether there was any merit in it at all, whether or not we could be together, and he stopped. And she prompted gently in a low voice, and it's not a conversation I would ever have had to have had they not been Christians. There, he'd said it. It felt good. How can you be part of a religion peddling peace, love, and understanding, and then not see that without religion we wouldn't be in this pickle at all? My family didn't have a word to say about us getting married. So long as we were happy, it was fine. But Sarah's parents, I just don't understand it. If you're believing in something that comes between love, good love too, not anything that would have burnt out or been bad for Sarah, if you believe that there's an example of good love being a bad thing, well, how can you believe that that is right? He ran out of steam and they sat in silence on the bench together, the angel sitting very still, Hamish going back to playing with the pebble beneath his foot. They sat like that for what would have been a very long time, had time not been stopped. There we go. That is the end of chapter 35. Human Herbal says we can only blow our own trumpets these days, not so for anyone else to do it. Very true, because there's no such thing as lip sanitizer. So there we go. That's chapter 35. It's a bit of a short one tonight, wasn't it? Sorry. But we can be back at 8 o'clock tomorrow for chapter 36. This is my raven, by the way. And I think from the feel of the live stream, more and more people are coming to the live stream bit by bit. So I think people are catching up. So, yay. More chapters back at 8 o'clock tomorrow. Thanks for doing the time change today. You guys are great. Thank you very much. I hope the headache goes away too. You are very lovely. Bye, everyone.